factor pairs. Okay, so when we say factor pairs, first off, the word factor is, I think, a new vocabulary word for us. So we're going to go ahead and highlight it really quick. A factor is just something being multiplied. That's it. A factor just means something being multiplied. So if I take a problem like, let's say 3 times 2 equals 6, both the 3 and the 2 are considered factors. They're the things that you multiply, whereas the 6 is called the product. Little bit of vocabulary. Remember that most of education is just learning the words. So when we talk about factor pairs, that means we're going to say a pair of factors, right? Two things that are going to multiply together. So it says here that 40 students are going on a field trip to the aquarium. Every student needs to be in a group, and all groups must have the same number of students. So we're going to list out some possible group configurations following these rules. I really like these kinds of little puzzle problems that give students a chance to find different answers. I wouldn't even show them these options yet. I would just say, how is it possible, and let them figure out for themselves what the various configurations are. So we could say, if there are 40 students, that would be, well, one group of 40, right? It wouldn't be a very practical solution, but it is a possible solution. We could do 2 groups, which would have 20 each, right? 2 times 20 is 40. Or we could do 4 groups that have 10 students in each group. And here I pose the question to you, as well as to anyone watching this video later on. Are these the only possibilities? If I were in a classroom, I would say, okay, we've found these 3 possibilities. Are they the only ones? And the answer is no. There's actually one more factor pair that we could make here. And this would be a nice little stretch goal for a class. It is also 5 times 8. So that would be another possibility that would go here. Excellent. Moving on. Now, with that in mind, this should be really quick now that I've defined our terms. We should be able to move through this pretty fast. Factor pairs for 26. Well, 4 times 6 is 24, so that's not correct. 5 times 5 is 25. That's not correct. 1 and 26. Don't forget, you can make a factor pair with 1, right? It's just 1 times whatever the thing. And 2 times 13 is also 26. 3 times 12 is 36, so that's not right. Complete the table to find all factor pairs of 88. So I hope you can see how this sort of links together with previous videos on multiplication and division that we've done. So if we have the first factor is 1, like the number of groups in our first problem, the second factor is 88, that is how many students are in each group from our first problem. So you could make 1 group of 88, you could make 2 groups of 44, you could make 4 groups of 22, you could make 8 groups of 11. These are very practical problems, and I strongly suggest making sure to give context to these problems to your students rather than just making them do a whole bunch of crunchy long division. A rectangle has an area of 21 square centimeters. Again, we are linking multiplication and area because it makes the leap to geometry later on a little bit less harsh. Which of the following could be the rectangle's length and width? And because we're only in 4th grade, it is reminding us that the area of a rectangle is length times width. So for example, we could have a length of 1 centimeter and a width of 21. 1 times 21 is indeed 21. 2 times 11 doesn't work, that's 22. 4 times 6 doesn't work, that's 24. But we do have 3 times 7, which is also 21. Blanca has 32 marbles. She wants to put her marbles into bags, so each bag has the same number of marbles and no marbles are left over. So again, all of the groups have to have the same number of things, and all of the marbles have to be in a group. So we could have one bag of 32 marbles, if I can type correctly. We could have 2 bags of 16 marbles, again, if I could type correctly. Come on, Cunningham. You're a professional. It could also be 4 times, I want to say 8. 3 times in a row, I fat finger another number. Maybe I'm too tired to be doing this stream right now, friends. As a note, by the way, the powers of 2, 4 times 2 is 8, and then 16, and then 32. Like, these are very useful numbers. They come up all the time, both in math and, like, in computer science later on. Which of the following are factor pairs for 12? Well, it's 1 times 12, and it's 2 times 6, and it's 3 times 4. Make sure you check all of the answers before you click that button. Finally, complete the table to find all factor pairs of 30. So now, again, we are jumping back into academic language rather than contextual language. You could be 1 times 30, 2 times 15. That one's already done for us. Could be 3 times. Well, what if I didn't know? What if I didn't know what number goes into that blank? Well, that's when you use division, right? Let's actually do that out at least once. To find the number that goes in there, I'm doing 30 divided by 3. And going back a couple of videos, I know 3 divided by 3 is 1. So I end up with essentially 110 left over. It's 3 times 10. You get that by dividing, if you need to. Or you might be able to just see it once you start getting these patterns down. And I want to say 30 is 5 times 6. Nice. Not bad. Factor pairs are done. What do we got next?